What up, peeps, and welcome back to the channel. I just wanted to talk today about Steven Strasburg's ridiculous 7-year, $175 million contract to make him a $25 million a year pitcher. I feel that's kind of stupid considering when you really look at it, you have pitchers like Price, Kershaw, Scherzer, Greinke, Sabathia, and Hernandez who are all just above him in pay, give or take a little bit. And the fact is that those pitchers I named off are all better than Steven Strasburg. And it's not because of, the ERA and this and that. It's because of the fact that those guys actually pitch. They actually can go and get quality starts. In in his career, he's only had 2 seasons where he's went over 180 innings pitched. When you only average 5.8 innings per start over your career, that's not very good. That doesn't scream $175 million to me. Especially when this is the same team that did not re-sign Jordan Zimmermann, a pitcher who has pitched far more innings, who has been healthier, who has actually not had bad stats over his career, who's a pretty solid pitcher. Yet you don't give him a $100 million contract because you think you're going to overpay for him, and then you give this guy $175 million. So it's like this. In his 4 major seasons where he's pitched a lot, from 2012 to 2015, he's had 7, 6, 5, and 8. Those are games in each season where he's had 5 innings or less pitched. Then in those same 4 seasons, he had 6 other games where he only went 5.1 per game, which is ridiculous. I've never in my entire life ever thought I would see a pitcher get $175 million for pitching 5 innings a game. That's pretty ludicrous, which leads you to believe that the reason why they are so good, why his stats and why he gets wins or anything like that, is because the Nationals have always had a pretty decent bullpen. It just, this shit just doesn't make any sense. Now, the person who in this whole ordeal should be the happiest person on earth right now should be Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper is sitting at, right now, what I would say has to be at least a $350 to $400 million contract, and in some might even think it could be higher. Because if you're going to give a guy who does not carry the team, he's not a Clayton Kershaw, he's not a Madison Bumgarner, he's not a Greinke, he's not a Scherzer, he doesn't carry his team in multiple games. He doesn't, if he's not good in the start of the game, you might as well forget it. Pull him out immediately because he's going to blow the game for you. Most of the games where he's pitched very little innings, he's given up 4, 5, 6 runs in those games in short periods of time. I really think the major problem with Strasburg is he's a strikeout pitcher. And I think that really hurts him because he tries to go after people. And when he does, his pitch count gets high. And he can't pitch long. Which means that, are you going to risk the Tommy John surgery that he had to have in order to have him go out there and pitch 100 pitches? I don't think so. Now that they gave him a $175 million deal, they need to take all of the restrictions off of him and let him roll with it, because ultimately, if you don't, then it was a complete waste of fucking money, and I just don't understand it. Like I said before, it's not that I'm saying that Strasburg's not a good pitcher. He's a good pitcher when he plays most of the time. Strasburg's one of those guys. He's either really great or he's really bad. There is no in between. It's not a shocker to me that the Nationals made this move because, the Nationals seem to not ever make the right moves. Let's face it, until this past year was the first time they've ever actually got someone to protect in the lineup for Harper, and that was Daniel Murphy. They could have went out and got other pieces of the puzzle for the lineup, and they didn't do that. For me, this feels kind of like the Phillies a few years back when, they brought in Roy Halladay, they had Cliff Lee, they had Cole Hamels, they had all these pitchers, and then the lineup fell the fuck apart, and they couldn't win because the pitchers were not God. They couldn't pitch 7 innings and give up 1 run and win the game when their offense wasn't scoring. And that's kind of like what happens with the Nationals. I mean, let's look at last year. You know, everybody says, oh, the Nationals are a front runner, but, well, let's face it, they didn't make the playoffs last year, and the team looks almost exactly the same. But, you know, only time will tell. Hopefully it works out for him. Hopefully it works out for them as a franchise. I'm assuming that it's probably not. This type of deal just really screams to me if either you're going to really overpay for Harper in a few years or in a year or so, or you're going to just let Harper go, which would be even dumber because then you get rid of the best hitting guy on your team. But yeah, that's my major thing with it. I'm just confused to why they would do it. I mean, it's just like, you know, you look at this guy getting this deal, so that means that Jake Arrieta is going to sign a $300 million deal because, well, ultimately he's pitching dynamite, so that only makes sense. But I think either, you know, maybe this was just a strategy standpoint by the Nationals to drive up the price of other players in the league. It very well could be. Who knows? But that's pretty much my gripe. I think it was overpaying for a guy who does not play enough. I think that they could have went out and gotten two other players for the price that they paid for him. You know, they could have kept a guy that only signed a $110 million contract in Jordan Zimmerman, but they didn't. It is what it is. You know, but that's pretty much all I got for this. I think it's a dumbass deal. Hey, I may eat my words years down the line. That's fine. I was one of those guys that believed the hype of Strasburg when he came out. Thought he was going to be dynamite. Thought he was going to be one of the greatest pitchers that we've ever seen. And, you know, he's shown signs of it, but he's just not consistent enough. If you have any comments on it, you know, just post in the comment section. Let me know what you think. I mean, maybe you agree with me, maybe you don't. It is what it is. Thanks for your time. Peace.